Welcome to Knowledge 5, Lesson 9. This is the Inca. Who were the Inca? The Inca were one of many groups of people who lived in North, Central, or South America long ago. They lived in the western part of South America, which you can see from the map. The Inca lived in parts of what we now call Bolivia, Ecuador, Argentina, Peru, and Chile. They controlled about 2,500 miles of land in South America. That's about the same distance as if you measured from one side of the United States to the other. More incredibly, the Inca created almost 20,000 miles of roads. They walked or ran in order to share ideas and information with other Inca in faraway parts of their empire. Many of these roads are still used today. The Inca controlled so much land because they conquered other nations of people. Each time they did, the size of their empire would grow. When the Inca conquered other nations, the emperor of the Inca would often have the conquered villagers move to a new area. The rest of this read aloud is a story about a village that was forced to move. "I don't understand," cried the girl. Her name was Little Flower and she was 5 years old. "Why do we have to move? This is where we live." Her older sister, Blue Sky, tried to explain, as she had been trying for 3 days now. "The emperor of the Inca has ordered our people, the people of the village of Stone Walls, to move. He says we must go and live up in the big tall mountains closer to his city of Cusco. He says if we are living among his own people, we will not try to be so different from them. He says we will get to be friends with the Inca people. And before you ask me again, Little Flower, I will tell you one last time. The emperor of the Inca now rules the village of Stone Walls. We have to do as he says, or he will be very angry." Blue Sky thought about how much to tell Little Flower. She did not want to upset her sister, but even though she was usually a very, very patient older sister, she was so tired of talking about this over and over again. After all, she thought, I am not so old myself. I do not like to think about these things either. But then she looked once more at her little sister, whom she really did love, and said as gently as she could, "If the Inca emperor gets angry with all the people in the village of Stone Walls, it will not be like when Papa or Mama gets mad at you and me. It will be much worse. So I think we had better do what he orders, don't you?" Little Flower thought about this. "Yes," she answered. "I guess we'd better do it." But as Blue Sky smiled and went back to collecting their things, the smaller girl whispered to herself, "But I still don't like it." Three days later, all the people who had lived in the village of Stone Walls were almost ready to move. They were sad to leave their home, and even the oldest and wisest of them felt the way that Little Flower felt, for they were about to go somewhere no one from the village of Stone Walls had ever even visited. The people from the village of Stone Walls were used to living in the dry, flat desert lands down near the ocean coast of what is today called Peru. They had never been a mountain people, nor had they lived anywhere as cold as where they were moving. Yet the colder high mountains is where they had to go. The people of the village of Stone Walls used llamas to carry loads for them. Llamas were very gentle, but strong enough to carry a lot on their backs. Blue Sky and Little Flower loaded all the possessions they were able to take with them onto their llama. Early the next morning, Blue Sky, Little Flower, and the rest of the people from the village of Stone Walls left their homes to make new ones in the mountains around Cusco.